You think you know Pinocchio. A wooden puppet, a long nose, a simple lesson about lying, but the story most people remember is the soft version. The original story is colder. It was written for kids, yes, and it was written in a world where kids went hungry, where poor families broke apart, and where fun could turn into a trap. In the earliest version of the story, Pinocchio does not even make it to a happy ending. The story originally stops with him dead. Not because the author was trying to shock people, but because this story was never meant to feel safe. It was meant to feel true. And once you see what is really inside Pinocchio, you will realize the famous nose is not the darkest part. It is not even close. Pinocchio begins with a piece of wood, not magic wood, not holy wood, just a block of wood that is supposed to become a table leg. A carpenter finds it and hears something strange. The wood seems to speak. It complains. It laughs. It begs. This is the first warning the story gives you. This is not a cute toy story. This is a story about something alive being treated like an object. The wood is passed to an old man named Geppetto. Geppetto is poor, the kind of poor where every choice hurts, the kind of poor where you cannot afford mistakes. He carves the wood into a puppet and names him Pinocchio. And the moment Pinocchio is finished, he causes trouble. Not because he is naughty in a funny way, because he is wild. He does not understand rules. He does not feel danger. He does not respect kindness. And this world is not gentle to creatures like that. Pinocchio runs the second he can move. He does not even say thank you. He does not even look back. Geppetto chases him into the street like a man chasing his own heart. People laugh. People point. To them, it is a show. To Geppetto, it is everything. Geppetto finally catches him. But it does not feel like a win. It feels like holding a fish in your hands, slippery, kicking, always about to escape. Still, Geppetto tries to do the right thing. He tries to send Pinocchio to school, because in this story, school is not a good habit. School is survival. If you learn, you can work. If you can work, you can eat. If you can eat, you can live. Geppetto scrapes together money for a school book. The cost is not small. He sells what little he has. In some versions, it is his coat, his warmth, his only protection from cold mornings. He gives that up so Pinocchio can have a chance. This is the first real tragedy in the story. Not a monster, not a curse. Just a father giving up his comfort so his child can climb out of the hole they were born in. And what does Pinocchio do? He takes the book. He walks down the street. He sells it. Not for food, not for medicine, for a show, for noise, for fun. This is what makes the story hurt. Because Pinocchio is not evil. He is just a kid who cannot see the future. And the future in this world is waiting like a trap. Pinocchio goes to a puppet theatre. He watches other puppets dance and shout. At first, it feels like he has found his place. They cheer for him. They call his name. For once, he feels wanted. But then the owner of the theatre notices him. This man is huge and scary. He is the kind of adult who does not smile with his eyes. Pinocchio learns something important here. In this world, attention is not always love. Sometimes it is hunger. Sometimes it is business. Sometimes it is danger. The owner decides Pinocchio is useful, and Pinocchio realizes too late that he might not leave. In some versions, the owner wants to use him as firewood. That is the kind of story this is. One minute you are cheering, the next minute someone is looking at you like fuel. Pinocchio begs, he cries, he promises. Somehow he gets away. But he does not learn the right lesson. He does not learn that this world is dangerous. He learns he got out. He will be fine. And that is how the story keeps working. Pinocchio escapes one trap, and runs straight into the next one. Soon, Pinocchio meets two figures, a fox and a cat. They are friendly, too friendly. They talk like they care, like they have been through the same hard life. But their words are smooth and their smiles are thin. They smell weakness in him the way wolves smell blood. They tell him there is a way to get rich, a way that does not require school, a way that does not require work, a way that does not require patience. They say he can take money, bury it, and it will grow. A magic trick, a shortcut. In a poor world, shortcuts feel like hope. That is why people fall for them. Pinocchio wants to believe, because believing feels good and thinking is hard. So he follows them. Night comes. The road gets darker. The trees get thicker. The fox and the cat change, not in a magical way, but in a human way. Their kindness drops away like a mask, and Pinocchio realizes he is alone with two predators. They demand his money. He refuses. They threaten him. He runs. He screams. And then they catch him. Here is the part most people do not know. In the early version of the story, they hang him. They tie him up and leave him there. That is where the story originally ended. Imagine being a child, reading this story 1 week at a time. You are waiting for the next part. You think surely he will be saved. But the last image you get is a puppet swinging in the dark. No rescue, no lesson, just the final truth of a cruel world. If you keep walking into traps, you do not always walk out. That ending shocked people. Readers wanted more. So later, the story continues. Pinocchio survives. But the hanging still matters, because it shows what the author was willing to do. It shows how high the stakes really are. This was never meant to be safe entertainment. It was a warning. After that, the story becomes a long chase between Pinocchio and consequences. He meets people who claim they want to help. Some do, many do not. He meets judges and police, and the justice is strange. In this story, the world punishes the wrong people. A child can be tricked, robbed, and harmed, and still be treated like he is the problem. Sometimes he is thrown in jail for being foolish, and when forgiveness comes, it is not for him. It is for real criminals. That is not a joke. That is the author showing you how the world feels when you are small and poor. The rules are not made to protect you. They are made to control you. Pinocchio also has a conscience, a voice that warns him. In many versions, it is the talking cricket. And here is another disturbing truth. Pinocchio does not listen to him. He gets angry. He throws something at him and kills him. That is what the story says. It is not subtle. It is not cute. It is telling you something grim. A kid can destroy the part of himself that says stop. And when that happens, the world does not become kinder. It becomes sharper. There are moments where Pinocchio suffers in a way that feels almost cruel for a children's story. At one point, he is so tired he falls asleep with his feet on a stove, and his feet burn off. He wakes up and tries to stand, and cannot. He is trapped in his own body, broken and helpless. This is the story's way of saying mistakes have costs. And sometimes the cost is not just shame. Sometimes it is your body. Sometimes it is your life. Geppetto returns and repairs him. Over and over, Geppetto repairs him. And each time, it costs Geppetto something. Time, energy, hope. Then comes one of the story's most famous traps, a place that feels like heaven to a child. A land where there is no school, no work, no rules, just games and candy and laughs all day. This is the kind of place a kid dreams about, and that's why it's terrifying, because it's a trap designed for kids. The story makes it very clear, this place is not freedom, it's bait. Boys arrive here and forget their parents, they forget their homework, they forget time, and then their bodies change. Not slowly, not gently. They start to grow donkey ears. Their voices break into brays. Their faces stretch, their hands harden. They become donkeys. And once they are donkeys, they are no longer boys who are having fun. They are animals. They are property. They are labor. This is the story turning a moral lesson into body horror. But the lesson is not that school is good. The deeper lesson is darker. If you stop building your future, someone else will use your body for theirs. Pinocchio becomes a donkey too, and what happens next is not a magical adventure. It is exploitation. He is sold. He is used. He is worked. He is treated like an object again, just like the wood at the start. And then it gets worse. When he is no longer useful, someone tries to profit from his skin. There are versions where he is thrown into the sea with a heavy weight, not to save him, to drown him, so his hide can be taken. Think about that. A children's story where a childlike creature is turned into an animal, sold, and then almost killed for parts. This is not a fairy tale meant to soothe. It is a fairy tale meant to warn. So why would anyone write a story like this for kids? You have to understand where it came from. Pinocchio was written in Italy, in a time when life was hard. Italy had become a new country not long before. People talked about freedom and pride and a bright future, but a lot of ordinary families were still poor. Many kids did not go to school. Many kids worked. Many families lived close to hunger. In that kind of world, childhood is not a long, safe dream. It is short. It is fragile. And one mistake can follow you like a shadow. The author, Carlo Collodi, was not always a children's writer. He had written political work before. He had seen how adults talked about big ideas while poor people still suffered. And then he wrote Pinocchio, a story that looks like fantasy but feels like a street lesson. It shows a boy who wants fun now, a father who gives everything, a world full of smiling predators, a system that punishes the foolish more than the cruel, a place that turns play into slavery. This is not random. This is a picture of a society just painted with puppets. Over time, Pinocchio changed. The world softened it. People kept the nose, because the nose is easy. It's funny. It's safe. It turns the story into a clean lesson you can teach in one sentence. Don't lie. But the original story is not built around lying. It's built around consequences. It's built around hunger. It's built around how quickly a child can be swallowed by the world. That's why the darkest parts are always tied to shortcuts, to skipping school, to chasing easy money, to trusting smooth voices, to choosing fun over work. Because in Collodi's world, those choices didn't just lead to a time out. They could lead to prison, to being sold, to being broken, to dying alone in the dark. And that's the real reason Pinocchio lasts. Not because a nose grows, but because the story touches a fear that never goes away. The fear that we can be shaped, used, tricked, changed into something we don't want to be. The fear that the world does not care if we are good. It cares if we are useful. And the cruelest trick is that the trap often looks like fun. It looks like freedom. It looks like an easy way out. Until the ears start growing. Until the rope tightens. Until you realize nobody is coming to save you. The next time you see Pinocchio's nose stretch in a clean, bright cartoon, remember what was underneath. A puppet in a hungry world. A father paying for every mistake. A story that once ended early, with a child-shaped thing swinging in silence. Not because the author hated children, but because he wanted them to understand something simple. In a world like that, you don't survive on wishes. You survive on choices.